Finally, after anticipating for so long, I get to finally play Spider-Man 2. And, oh wait, wrong Spider-Man 2. There you go. So after waiting for so long to play Spider-Man 2, the game has finally released, and I played through the whole story mode. And I gotta say, it is one of the best games of this year, next to all the other fantastic games that have come out this year. Now, the question you're all asking is this the best Spider-Man game? I gotta say yes. In terms of gameplay, in terms of even parts of the story, I feel like it is the best Spider-Man game. But unfortunately, there are some stuff in there that I just felt like were a bit of a letdown. But let's not get carried away. Let's talk about the pros of this game. First off, the gameplay, always great. The swinging is just as good as the first one. There's a new addition to it, which is the web wings. Now, I was a bit worried about the web wings at first when I saw some gameplay videos of the web wings. I thought it was going to be you flying like Superman, but thankfully that isn't the case. It does focus more on gliding. I just kind of wish that they kind of did the gliding a bit more, just like how they did in Prototype. The combat is great as usual. There are new additions to the combat, which are the spider arms and the symbiote. And boy, the symbiote is so much fun to use, especially in rage mode. Oh yeah. And some of the side missions I really enjoyed, especially the Flame, which features Yuri as Wraith, and a surprise villain that I won't give away. And while some of the side missions I really enjoyed, there are some that I just didn't. And this is where we lead to the cons of this game. Two in particular that I just felt were so unnecessary. One being, of course, the one that people have been talking about. You get to play as a deaf black girl doing graffiti art. Wow, just what I wanted in a Spider-Man game. Like Spider-Man saving a cat or something would have been a much better mission than this. This is so unnecessary. There's no point to this. It's just a waste of fucking time. And yes, you can skip through this mission. But if you're a completionist, you're gonna have to do this mission no matter what. And did you hate those MJ missions back in the first game? Well, don't worry. Insomniac listened and said, we're gonna bring you more MJ missions in this game. And this time, she's gonna have a gun and she's gonna kick some ass. Now let's talk about the story. I will say, the beginning of the story is awesome. The beginning mission where you fight Sandman is probably one of the best beginnings in a video game I've ever seen. But after the beginning, it just felt like a downgrade to me compared to the first game's story, which I thought was really good. Here, it's kind of a convoluted mess because you're focusing on Peter and Miles, and sometimes they just are two completely different stories by themselves. And when I played through the Peter missions, I almost completely forgot Miles was in the story as well. Mainly because Miles himself is not as important to the story that much. He really has no fucking reason, just because he's Spider-Man's sidekick and all. That's the only reason he's there. The main story is mostly just a Peter Parker story with his relationship between Peter and Harry. And heck, even in the story, Peter forgets that Miles is around. He forgets about Miles for a second because he's hanging out with Harry. And speaking of Harry, yes, it was obvious that he was going to be Venom even before Spider-Man 2 was announced. And honestly, it is a bit weird, mainly because Eddie Brock will always be Venom, and he'll always be known as Venom. So it's always weird to see somebody else take on the role of Venom besides Eddie Brock. And this isn't the first time that Harry has been Venom. We've seen this before in that Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, which was fucking shit. At least this one did a better job on handling that. And I get it for story reasons, but come on. I mean, gotta bring in Eddie Brock as Venom at some point, right? Maybe in future DLC. And throughout this story, there's been a strange amount of villains that have turned good. I don't know, that was just weird to me. Like, there's been so many villains from the past game that turn out to be good now. Like Tombstone, Mr. Negative, Mysterio. That's just a minor nitpick, not really much of a negative thing, but it's just weird that the amount of villains from Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery turn out to be good. I mean, aside from Sandman, every other villain is just a villain. Throughout the story, they treat Peter like he's a failure all the time. He's a terrible Spider-Man or whatever. And he always keeps telling Miles and MJ that they are better than him in everything. Oh, Miles, you're so much better than me. You saved me like so many times. Oh, you're the real hero, Miles. Oh, MJ, you saved my life so many times. Oh, thank you so much. I'm such a little bitch. And it's just like, this whole trope is just getting annoying. Like, this has happened all over the place with Star Wars and Indiana Jones and even in the MCU. Like, this is getting really annoying. But aside all the gripes I had with the story, I really love Spider-Man 2. It is a fantastic game with amazing swinging mechanics, amazing combat. Everything about it is great. But unfortunately, this is the first Insomniac Spider-Man game where I encountered the most glitches, and this is just fucking pathetic. To end the video off, here's one of the glitches I encountered in the game.